Good evening. Hope you're having a great week. It is Tuesday, July 1st, 5:28 p.m. Central Daylight Time, local time here in you know what? Let's look. Let's look at the map. Let me zoom out here a little bit. Looks like maybe Willow Springs or maybe Hutton Valley. I'm kind of in between both. I'm guessing Willow Springs, Missouri. Pretty sure I haven't crossed into Arkansas yet. You know what? I want to, whenever I turn on my windshield wipers, it sprays fluid on my side mirrors and my side windows. So give me a second. I'm going to clean those off real quick. Let me pause this. All right, I went ahead and sprayed the windshield as well. We'll give it a good once over. And now all of our windows are clean. It's really important for your windows and mirrors to be clean for visibility, but especially at night. If there's any kind of glare, like if you're driving into the sun, then dirty windows will severely reduce your visibility. And at night, whenever there's lights shining in your windows, it will severely reduce your visibility because the light will hit all of the crap on your window and reflect off of it. All right, we're going to start rolling. So Google is wanting me to take a right turn out of here and get onto the highway a little further down. Google's trying to save me a couple of seconds, but we're not going to do that. We're going to come in. We're going to go out the same way we came in. So as far as window cleaning, this is what I do, and I recommend you do the same.
Take the next right onto US.
That's really
60
loud.
business.
I have my phone paired up with my stereo, so my phone plays over my speakers, which is great for listening to YouTube videos. But it's not so great to have Google yelling and screaming at you.
Feet. Turn left onto US 63, business south.
So if you don't know where Willow Springs, Missouri is at, I got onto highways and state roads.
Turn left onto US 63, business south.
In Springfield, Missouri. This car is racing up here trying to get to the stop sign before me. Normally I let four-wheelers go before me. I'll wave them on.
1,000 feet.
But if they're driving aggressive like that, screw them. You can wait.
Mountain View, West Plains.
But it's, so I got onto state roads and highways just south of Springfield, Missouri. And I drove for about an hour. And it's mainly east. Not like straight south. I'm just about to turn to where I'm going south. I've mainly been going east. So I'm probably like 60, maybe 80 miles southeast of Springfield, Missouri.
For 3/4 of a mile.
And it's nice bi-directional, or it's not bi-directional, it's nice divided highway or state road right now. But I'm just about to hit the section where it goes to bi-directional, and I'm going to be driving bi-directional for, I don't know, 60 to 100 miles. I can't remember exactly. And then it goes divided again. Wait a second. We're going to stay in this lane because I need to, it's splitting, and I'm going to hop onto 63 South. Right now I'm on Highway 60 East.
Use the right 2 lanes to turn slightly right onto US 63 South.
So we're going to hop onto Highway 63 South. Oh, the rumble strip is right on the fog line. We got the rumble strip right there.
Use the right 2 lanes to turn slightly right onto US 63 South. Continue on US 63 South for 62 miles.
Oh, horsey. I'm really light, by the way, if you haven't been following the videos. The load only weighs, I think, 7,100 pounds, which is almost like running empty. These trucks can haul about 45,000 pounds of cargo, so 7,000 pounds of cargo is really, really light. All right, so my windshield washing spray bottle. So there are 2 different kinds of, well, I have tons and tons of different spray bottles in the truck. I have WD-40, which is good for, breaking stuff free. This is a common misconception with WD-40. WD-40 is not a lubricant. You should not use WD-40 to lubricate stuff. But there is a WD-40 silicone lubricant, which I have regular WD-40, which is basically for nuts and bolts that are rusted to where you can't get them to break free. You spray WD-40 on them. And then WD-40, the lubricant, the silicone lubricant, is what you spray on stuff to lube it. And then I have brake cleaner. What all others? I have tons and tons of different kinds of spray bottles. But there's 2 different spray bottles that I have where I just buy spray bottles and I fill them up with my own stuff. One of them is isopropyl alcohol. I try to get really high percentages, like 91% isopropyl alcohol, but sometimes all I can find is 70%. What do I use isopropyl alcohol for? Well, all kinds of stuff. Mainly cleaning, like washing my hands. I keep wet wipes in the truck, and I'll spray my hands with isopropyl alcohol and then use the wet wipes on them. I also use isopropyl alcohol to clean off like my table and stuff like that. You have to be very careful with what you use it on because it is, I don't know if you'd call it acidic, but it can strip paint off of stuff. So you have to be very careful with what you use it on. Otherwise, you'll strip the paint off of it. Like I sprayed my mouse. My mouse has a bunch of artwork on it. And I sprayed my mouse and it stripped off a bunch of the artwork. And then my other spray bottle, the one that I use to clean the windows, is water with a little bit of Dawn dishwashing liquid in it. I keep a bottle of Dawn dishwashing liquid in the truck. And I just, put a little bit of it in that spray bottle, fill it up with water, and that's what I use to clean off the windows. It works really well. That soapy water, I just spray that onto the windows and run the wipers a couple of times, and it'll get rid of almost all the bugs. And if it's like really, really nasty with bugs, maybe I'll have to do that 2 or 3 times. But that's all I have to do. I don't have to get out there and scrub on it. I just spray the window with soapy water and then run the wiper blades a few times. And then if there's still bugs on there, I go out there and do it again. And then I also have a little squeegee that I can use for cleaning off the inside of the window or the side mirrors and stuff like that. That's what I just used on the side mirrors and the side windows, was I sprayed them with soapy water. And then I've got my, just a second here. Just a second here. That person was in my lane, just driving down the shoulder, but the side of their vehicle was like 6-8 inches into my lane. I couldn't get over. There was just too many vehicles alongside me. And these assholes, whenever I hit my brakes, they hit their brakes with me. That is what is so dangerous about having somebody alongside you, is whenever you hit your brakes, these assholes will hit their brakes as well and just block you into the lane. That white car was alongside me, slamming on their brakes. Every time I slowed down, they slowed down with me. I was trying to slow down to create space to get over, but I just couldn't. People are stupid, so you should not trust other people to do something smart for your safety. You should always be looking out for yourself and expect people to do dumb things out here on the road. What I've been thinking about doing is creating my own windshield washer fluid mixture, because the windshield washer fluid sucks. It's basically just like spraying water onto the window. And the windshield washer fluid I buy is rated for like negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit. But this past winter when I was out over the road, when it would get anywhere down around 0 degrees Fahrenheit, all my windshield washer fluid would freeze up. It's rated nowhere remotely close. Nothing close to negative 30 Fahrenheit. It's maybe rated for like 15 degrees Fahrenheit, because inside the engine compartment, it's warmer than the outside temperature because the engine's putting off a ton of heat. And I was having issues with it being like 5 degrees Fahrenheit outside, and my windshield washer fluid was freezing up. So, like, I'm paying for windshield washer fluid that's just basically water. So, I mean, it doesn't clean the window very well, and it's not, sorry, I started looking in the rearview mirror. It's not very protected from the elements. Like, it doesn't have a low freezing point. So what that tells me is that they're going really cheap on whatever they're using for their antifreeze. It's most likely methanol. You have to use quite a bit of methanol to get something. I think it's like 30%. Like if you were mixing water with methanol to get it to negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit, it'd have to be like 30% methanol. Is what I think. That's what I read online, because I was looking into making my own windshield washer fluid, because the crap you buy, like I've tried Rain-X and the Peak or whatever it is at the truck stops, and I bought stuff at AutoZone. I've tried several different brands, and all of the ones I've tried so far are just absolute crap. They don't clean the windshield for, like, the soap. Just a second here, there's somebody pulling out in front of me. Oh, it's one of these assholes that has some custom exhaust that blows black smoke out. They have their exhaust coming out of the bed of their truck. They have like a tractor trailer, like a Class 8 vehicle exhaust stack coming out of the bed of their pickup. Just blowing out black smoke. What an asshole. I bet when they're driving around, they think everybody looking at them thinks they're really cool. They're like, oh my God, that guy is so awesome. And almost everyone is looking at them like they're a moron. But yeah, just the soapy water mixture that I use, which is like a tablespoon of Dawn soap, Dawn dishwashing liquid in water, cleans off the windows so well. Just a second here. This pickup's cutting across. That was dangerous. So basically, to make my own windshield washer fluid, I would just need water, Dawn dishwashing liquid, and methanol. And I've looked into buying methanol, and it's just, I mean, it's not like really, really expensive, but it would be a little bit pricey for me to make my own windshield washer fluid with methanol. Now, if I didn't use any methanol, then it's just water and soap. That's really cheap. All right, speed limit's dropping down from 65 to 55. So we're tapping the brakes, turning off the cruise, and coasting down. We're at 59, 58. Speed limit is just now going to 55, and we're at 54. Just a second here. See how many people are going to roll the dice pulling in front of me. Quite a bit of traffic on this road. I'm hoping the traffic dies down a lot by the time we get to bidirectional. All right, we're going downhill and it's coasted up to 60 miles an hour, so got to use some brakes here. But maybe I will start doing my own windshield washer fluid, just water and soap. And then when it comes winter time, I'll throw methanol in there. It's not often that I have to deal with like 0 degrees Fahrenheit temperatures in the winter. So it's not like I would need to put a ton of methanol in there all the time. But I do need to try to find some place to buy methanol cheaper. The only places I've found it are online, so I might ask the shop that I work with where they buy their methanol from, because the place where I pay to park the truck, they also have their own trucking company, and they also have their own shop all there on the site. And they use methanol all the time. I remember when I was in there getting some work done, they pulled in one of their company trucks, and they're like, this guy's heading up into the north, and it's, you know, an Arctic blast. It's like negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit. And they were talking about putting methanol like into everything. Like they were putting methanol on the brake lines and like everywhere. So since they use a lot of it, I'm suspecting that they're buying it somewhere on the cheap. So I need to figure out which which place in town they're buying it from. Who knows? Maybe they're buying it in bulk, like massive containers or something. And maybe they'll sell me like a gallon jug of it for like a couple of bucks. Just a second here. We're doing a lot of downhill. And I'm having to do a lot of braking. And I've got vehicles in front of me going slow. And then the vehicles behind me going fast. I've got a truck right on my rear bumper that's going to go out and pass me at any moment. All right, looks like speed limit's dropping down to 45. We're doing 54 right now. And now we're going on flat land. I'm letting it coast down. A stoplight. 48. Light just turned red. And the truck is out alongside me. So now we got both lanes blocked. This is something that this is part of like trucker etiquette. If you're driving through a small town with a bunch of stoplights, don't get side by side with other trucks. Leave one of the lanes open for the four-wheelers. All right, the truck behind me just like slammed on their brakes and slowed way down and fell in behind me. So that's trucker etiquette. So they are getting over in the right lane behind me to leave the left lane open for the four-wheelers that can accelerate a lot faster than us. Oh, wow, that guy accelerated real slow. He's like a quarter of a mile behind me. And I'm not trying to accelerate fast. This truck will actually accelerate really fast. I'm just like babying it right now. We're already up to, actually I'm speeding. I'm doing 48. Slow it down a little bit. But that truck is, man, it's like a half mile behind me now. That thing accelerated really, really slow. It must be heavy. Must be really, really heavy. All right, we have a stale green light. This thing could turn red at any second. We are past the point of no return now. All right, and the light above in front of me is red, but they're still doing left turns. So it's going to be red for a minute. They've still got to let traffic go straight across. So we're slowing down. There we go. It just turned green. It did not let the cross traffic go. That car is still sitting there. So maybe it let cross traffic go and then it did left turns. Sometimes lights will do that. They'll go backwards instead of doing left turns first. All right. Now that truck that's really slow is right on my ass again because I had to come to a stop at that light. And there's a cattle hauler out in the left lane passing me. Cattle haulers are notoriously aggressive drivers. cattle hauler looks like it might be falling in behind me. It's slowing down. I don't know what it's doing. All right, looks like there's a lot of brake lights, but we have a green light. All these cars are turning left, or turning right, I'm sorry. All right, now we're turning, the light's turning red. Cattle haulers most likely loaded. Cattle haulers, whenever they're loaded, they accelerate and decelerate extremely slow. I think that's the reason that cattle hauler started slowing way down, was anticipating this light. Because if they accelerate or decelerate fast, they'll hurt the animals. So I got the cattle hauler alongside me on my left, and then I've got the really slow truck behind me. And it looks like almost all the four-wheelers are turning right here. So there's almost no four-wheelers behind us. Every four-wheeler that's pulling up behind us is making a right turn. So it looks like traffic is going to clear up past this light. All right, speed limit's gone up to 50 from 45. Yay. All right, the cattle hauler out accelerated that really slow truck, and the cattle hauler just dipped over in behind me, but it's like 500 feet behind me already. We're going up a really slight grade, so that slow truck that's heavy is accelerating even slower than it did last time. That cattle hauler is almost a half mile behind me already. But yeah, I'm still looking into the whole windshield washer fluid. All right, we're green. We got a pedestrian over there that's hitting the cross. No, that's somebody spinning a sign. What are they selling? Fireworks. They're flipping and spinning the sign so much you can barely even read what the sign says. I guess they watched that Joker movie and they think that that's cool to flip and spin the sign and all kinds of stuff. All right, looks like we're losing a lane. Four-wheelers are about 200 or 300 feet behind me. So let's see if any of them block me from changing lanes. I'm going to go ahead and get over now before they catch up with me. I don't want to wait till the last second. They'll run me into the shoulder. All right, light's green. There's nobody sitting at the light. Green, 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 green. All right. We're good. What in the hell is that thing? All right, we have some type of farm equipment in the road. All right, it's getting over into the turn lane to get people to pass it. I don't think it's actually making a turn, and these damn four-wheelers are not passing it. That turn lane's not going to last very long. Okay, it is actually turning. All right, speed limit is going up to 65 from 50. Doing 58, 59. Passing lane. So I have the cattle hauler about a quarter mile behind me, and the heavy truck is about 500 feet behind the cattle hauler, and the cattle hauler is catching up with me. All right, got the cruise set at 65, and now we're on bidirectionals. I think it's somewhere in the ballpark of 60 to 100 miles of bidirectionals, but I don't know. It could be 30 miles for all I know. I did not measure the distance. I just know it's almost all the way to interstate. I think it's 50. Is it 5? I can't remember. This highway or state road or whatever turns into an interstate around Jonesboro. And just before it turns into an interstate, like 10 miles or so, it turns into a nice divided road again. Or we get extra lanes. I can't remember. But I think it's almost all the way to Jonesboro that we're doing bidirectionals. All right, the cattle hauler disappeared. I didn't see them disappear, but they did. Actually, I do think I see them way, way back there at the top of the hill. Looks like they are turning or they're pulling onto the shoulder or something. Yeah, they just made a left-hand turn. So back at the top of the hill, the cattle hauler made a left-hand turn. So now I just have the heavy truck almost a half mile behind me. And then there's a four-wheeler a couple miles back. I'm going to pop open my soda. I got an orange Shasta. I think we're on Highway 63 South. This might also be Highway 412. I'm not 100%. But in 36 miles, we're taking a left onto Highway 412. All right, we got another passing lane. And that heavy truck is still quite a ways back there behind me. It's still about a half mile back. I think it's catching up with me, but really slowly. I'm not really wanting it to get in front of me because it is so heavy. every time we go over it. Like, this is a lot of rolling hills we're driving through. So if it manages to get in front of me, then it's going to block me. But because of these rolling hills, unless the person is going like 70 plus miles an hour when it can, it's not going to catch me. Spectator parking. We have some type of field over here. Speedway Park. So a racetrack. Legit speedway. You know, I didn't even know that this was a thing, but there was somebody that used to be a friend of mine, and he was a very odd character. That's one of the reasons we're no longer friends. He was really weird, and it wasn't until I got to know him really well that I realized how weird he was. But one of the things that he enjoyed doing was there was some type of racetrack, like a drag strip, drag racing. That would open up to the public like certain days. I'm not sure how often it happened, like once a week or once a month. But there would be days where they would open it up to the public. And they had rules. Like you had to have certain protective gear. I can't remember all the rules, but it wasn't too crazy. Like you could take like a regular car out onto this drag strip and you would pay to go down the drag strip like one time. Every time you went down the drag strip, you had to, I think you had to pay. And they would give you a ticket at the end, tell you what your like quarter mile time was and stuff like that. I think they even allowed people to go more than one person at a time to like race each other. I'm not sure about that though. I never went. He just told me about it. And this person was also like a pathological liar. So I really take this, like this could be completely fictitious what he told me. Like this guy lied. This is one of the reasons that we stopped being friends was I realized how often he lied. He lied about almost everything. He had this fantasy world that he lived in that he believed so much that he was a very compelling liar. Like he truly believed this stuff happened. That's the reason he was so good at lying. That's the reason it was so hard to tell that he was lying, because he truly believed in his head that this stuff happened. He just like imagined this alternative life. And just a second here. It looks like two vehicles wanting to pull out into the road. I can't tell if they're, all right, there's another one. It's going to pull out right in front of me. Watch for left turning traffic in the passing lane. I think that sign said Jonesboro 94. I was reading the passing lane sign, and I just glanced over at the distance to towns at the last second. I think it said Jonesboro was 94 miles. So, yeah, it's probably close to 100 miles of this bi-directional crap that I have to do. That truck, the heavy truck, is still almost a half mile back behind me. It does look like it's catching up a little bit with me. Which means that it's probably going 70. Because it's so heavy, it's dropping a lot of speed every hill we go over. So for it to be catching up with me, it has to be going 70 downhill and on flat land. Sawdust and Dreams custom cabinets. Oh my goodness, I hate messing with cabinetry. There was a job I worked in, I think it was Dayton, Nevada. It was just east of Carson City, Nevada. It was back when I lived in Reno, Nevada. Well, I lived in Sparks, Nevada at the time, which is like the industrial park of Reno. But this place that I worked at for a couple of months, they had a granite working shop where they did like granite countertops and stuff like that. And then they had a welding shop. They had a shop where they did powder coating. I never saw them do an actual powder coating for a customer. Everyone that worked there would bring in stuff to get powder coated. I did a lot of powder coating while I was there. And it was all just employees stuff, like bumpers on their pickup trucks and stuff like that. But they had a cabinet shop. And I would go over there and help in the cabinet shop because I didn't have anything to do. They hired me as a driver, and they didn't have anything for me to drive. They didn't own a truck. And I asked them, like, what in the world, like, after a couple weeks of working there and not doing anything, I was like, what am I supposed to do? And they said, well, we can't put you on the insurance until you've worked here for 2 years. So we plan on buying a truck right around that time. So after you've been here for 2 years, we're going to buy a truck. Or maybe rent a truck. I'm not sure. All right, speed limit's dropping down to 50. And we're slowing down. We're down to 58. I mean, that's not much notice for the speed limit dropping 15 miles per hour. We're down to 53. 51. So that's the reason I only worked there for a couple of months is, like, I was making more than anyone else there, even like the department heads. Like the department head of the granite shop was making $13 an hour. I was making $18 an hour. I think the head manager for the entire site was making like $16 or $17 an hour. I was making more than him. The only person that was making more than me was like the head person over, like there were multiple sites. Like they had one of the sites made like light bulbs for aircraft, some type of lighting for aircraft. But I was like the second highest paid person, and I wasn't doing anything. So after like 2 months, I was like, I can't do this anymore, because I buddied up with some people in there, and the granite shop guy was one of the lowest paid department heads. And he was always pressuring me, wanting to know how much I made. And because I wouldn't tell him how much I made, he assumed that I made more than him. And he was just pissed off all the time, complaining about me making more than him, even though he didn't know how much money I made. All right, the heavy truck is right on my ass. The heavy truck did not slow down, did not obey the speed limit through that town, and it got right up on my ass. So now I'm back up to 65, and I'm pulling away from the heavy truck because it can't accelerate very fast. But yeah, after a couple of months, I quit because I just got tired of the drama. And I don't like working at places where I don't feel like I'm doing anything because I don't feel I have any job security. And they fired 3 people that they were paying $8 an hour to make room in their budget for me. And I felt really bad about that. But anyway, I would go around and help the various departments because like I didn't have anything to do, and I felt really bad that I was making more than everybody, and so I tried to be productive. And the cabinetry, maybe they were making really cheap cabinets. I don't know what the deal was. But basically, the cabinets that they were making them out of like cheap particle board type stuff that was like sawdust glued together. And then they would put this finishing on it to make it look decent. And these things were so incredibly fragile. I helped them deliver a whole bunch of them to an office building. We rented a bunch of U-Hauls to take them over there, and I wasn't allowed to drive the U-Hauls, but I went over there with them anyway to help them load and unload the stuff. And when we were taking them out of the U-Hauls, we would set them at the edge of the floor, and then we would lean them over. And we did not realize it, but us just leaning the cabinet over, and these were not like really heavy cabinets. I would say that they weighed maybe 50 pounds. So one person could carry them, but they were kind of bulky, so we were using 2 people to carry them just because of how big they were. But they weren't very heavy without the drawers in them. And just like leaning them on the flooring like that caused a divot in the bottom of every single one of the cabinets. And the cabinet guys had to spend like another day or 2 going in and repairing every single one of the cabinets from those little divots that we put in them at the bottom whenever we were unloading them out of the back of the U-Haul. All right, the heavy truck is right on my ass. I think it might try to pass me in this passing lane. Nope, it backed off. All right, so that's good. The heavy truck is not going to try to pass me. I think this is a sign that it's not going to try to pass me. I just wish it would stop speeding and we wouldn't be having these problems, because I'd prefer for it to not be really close to me. I don't like for anybody to be close to me, in front or behind. Because when somebody is riding my ass, it affects how I drive. I'm afraid to do any kind of hard braking or anything when somebody's that close behind me. And I would say he's probably about 250 feet behind me right now. He was like 150 feet behind me. He's getting closer now. He's just letting it coast down the hill. He's like 100 feet behind me now. He's like 50 feet behind me now. He's right on my ass. This is pissing me off. I do not like having somebody this close behind me. It is dangerous. I think he's going to pass me in the next passing lane, or at least try. All right, speed limit's dropping down to 50. And he's right on my ass. I'm having to drop, right there's the speed limit sign. I'm having to drop 15 miles an hour in a very short distance. And this guy is right on my rear bumper. I'm at 55 right now. Like, I was afraid to slow down any more than 55 because of how close behind me he was. I'm sorry that that's all I'm talking about, but that's the reason that's what I'm talking about is because that's what I'm thinking about. I'm hyper focused on this person that's riding my ass. And now there's a four-wheeler that caught up with us, and the four-wheeler is dipping out into oncoming traffic to let us know he's back there. You know, that aggressive intimidation type thing that people do. It's like, speed up. Hey, I'm behind you. Oh, that trucker waved at me when they passed. And there's a four-wheeler behind them that just caught up with us. All right, now the speed limit's dropping down to 45. And I have got the truck and two cars just right on my rear bumper. We're doing 46 right now. And cars keep popping out. Those cars back behind me keep popping out into oncoming traffic to look around to see if they can pass. All right, now we're coming up on a red light. God, that truck is right on my rear bumper. Let's see if they grab the left lane. They're not going to be able to pass me because we're going up a hill after this light. All right, the truck is behind me. All right, this is 63 South and 142 West that we're on. Highway 63 South and State Road 142 West. That's what that sign says. All right, this little hill and going from a complete stop should allow me to get some distance on this truck. We got another stoplight coming up though. Hopefully it's not red. Otherwise it'll give this truck an opportunity to catch back up with me. It is red. All right, just turned green. Hopefully it turns red again for that truck. That truck's about half mile behind me. And speed limit's going back up from 45, now it's 55. All right, that truck got a red light. And there's another truck at the light with it that got into the left lane. They're about a mile behind me and the light is still red. They're still at that light. All right, looks like they just started moving from that light. All right, speed limit's dropping back down to 45, and there's a red light at the bottom of the hill. Arkansas, I think we're just now crossing over into Arkansas. Welcome to Arkansas. All right, the light just turned red. Did it go through a cycle? Did it turn green and then red that quick? I just saw it go yellow and then red.
Welcome to Arkansas.
Come on, turn green, turn green, turn green. Don't make me, there we go, green. Don't make me come to a complete stop. All right, we're getting kind of lucky with the lights. Hopefully this continues, and then that truck that was tailgating me, hopefully they get unlucky with the lights, and I'm just able to get a lot of distance on them. But they are speeding through these low speed limit areas, and we're going to be hitting a lot of those, so they'll probably catch back up with me. Just a second here. There's a speed limit's 45, cruising through here, and there's a four-wheeler just sitting on my left side, speed matching me. All right, there's a sign that says speed limit's going up to 55, but there's another sign that says it's a 45 mile per hour turn. So we're doing 51 right now. All right, the four-wheeler just made a left turn. It was driving along my left side. And there's nobody behind me for as far as I can see. Yay! Doing 57. All right, the car in front of me is making a right turn. I would love to live out in the country like this. Well, I would love to live further out in the country than this. I don't like living in town, and I live in town. I want to sell my house, sell my car, buy a 34-foot sailboat, live off the coast of the Florida, in the Florida Keys. I just got to right lane ends. I just got to figure out a way to support myself. I only need to make somewhere around $30,000 a year, and I could survive. I mean, that's the way my mind works. Like other people, you know, most everyone I know, they want a big house, a big car, they want a big RV, they want all kinds of crap. I want very minimalist stuff because right now I have a whole bunch of crap. I have a really big house, I have a sports car, I had a motorcycle I sold 5 years ago. Whenever I got back into trucking, I sold my motorcycle. You know, I've got the truck that I own as well. So right now I have a whole bunch of crap. And what I've realized by having all this crap is that it's just a bunch of stress. Maintaining it and paying for all of the insurance and registration. And there's a tremendous amount of cost with owning things. And I would put quotations around owning. You don't actually own something if you have to pay the government to use it. Like if you have to pay registration and insurance and all the rest of that stuff to own something, then you don't truly own it. Those are existence taxes. So I wouldn't mind owning stuff if I actually owned it, but having to pay several $1,000s per year for insurance and registration and all the rest of that stuff, I don't truly own it. And I'm paying, basically I'm renting it. I'm paying a tremendous amount of money to supposedly own it. And then I'm also paying a lot of money to rent it. Like, how much am I paying for on my house just for insurance and property taxes on my house? I think I pay $3,500 a year in property taxes, and my insurance is around like $4,000 a year. So it's somewhere around $7,000 or $8,000 a year that I pay for property taxes and insurance for my house. Just a second here. 40 mile per hour turn, and we're going downhill. And there's a lot of roads coming on and off of this thing, so there could be somebody making a right turn or pulling out from their yard into the road around one of these turns. So I'm having to be very focused. And I'm expecting that heavy truck to just come barreling in behind me at any moment. I'm doing 47 miles an hour right now, and I'm expecting him to come hauling ass around the corner at like 70 miles an hour on me. Or her, I don't know which it is. Women are just as bad of drivers as men. I don't want to leave them out. Women are just as stupid as men. I just default to guys as truck drivers because the vast majority of truck drivers are guys. But who knows? It could be some dumb woman driving like an idiot behind me. I don't see anybody in my rear view right now. Still don't see anybody back there. Still checking the mirrors when I'm turning because, man, some of these cars are driving so fast. You can look in your mirror and there's nobody back there. And then you can look back in your mirror a couple of seconds later and there's somebody alongside you. So don't ever trust, a mirror check that you did 2 or 5 seconds ago and then just blindly do a lane change. And this is some windy shit. Lots of passing lanes. .45 mile per hour recommended for the turns up ahead. We're doing 52 and I'm just letting it coast down. 47, 46, 44. The trees are providing some shade, which is allowing the truck to stay cool. That's nice. When I have a lot of direct sunlight through the window, it's hard for the air conditioner to keep up. Still don't see anybody behind me. All right, 8.4 miles until we make a left turn on Highway 412. What I think that is, if I remember, like I've driven this road a few times. I don't drive any road enough to memorize it. There are truck drivers out there that drive the same road so many times that they're like, oh yeah, at mile marker so-and-so, there's a little turnout where you can do that. They can tell you all kinds of weird little stuff about the roads that they drive on because they travel them so often. I have vague, partial memory of the roads that I drive on because I drive them so rarely. I think it's been 3 or 4 years since I've driven on this road. But if I remember correctly, this left-hand turn that we're going to take is a bypass around a town. The road goes right through the middle of some town, and it's a pretty decent sized town, and they created this little bypass to drive around the town. So you have to make a left turn to get onto the bypass, and then you have to make another left turn to get back onto the highway on the other side of the town. And the bypass only lasts, I think it's like 5 or 10 miles. It's not very far. Might not even be that far. I can't remember. It's not very far. Still don't see anybody behind me. Doing 54 right now. And we're coming up on another 45 mile per hour turn. All right, we're doing 47. And there's cross traffic up ahead. Trucks turning. These are some really blind turns. Gut Creek. Going across Gut Creek at 60 miles an hour. They need to turn this into a better road. There's a lot of traffic going up and down this road. But with this terrain, oh my goodness, it would be a pain in the butt for them to turn this into like a divided highway. It would be really expensive. I forgot how windy and rolling hills this was. It's just constantly going up and down hills and around turns. Google says the speed limit is 55, but I haven't seen a speed limit sign in a long time. Most of the time, because these turns are so sharp, I'm doing like 45. Doing 59 right now. And this turn is listed as 50 miles per hour. And we have cross traffic, recommended 40 miles per hour. And a truck's turning sign around this blind corner. We're doing 44. 42. We're going uphill. And it looks like a lot of trucks pull over and park right here. Razorback Apartments, senior apartments. Not really the place where I want to spend the twilight of my life. You know, just get to lay there and die in an apartment right alongside a busy highway. Auto frame suspension service wheel alignment. Well, that's the spot to go. Ooh, there must be a river nearby. There's over to our left, we just passed tons of like rafts and canoes. Oh, drifted off onto the shoulder a little bit right there. The road like leaned to the right, like the road had a, anyway, I don't know how to describe it. The truck drifted off to the right because the road dipped down in. All right, I see somebody behind me. There's a four-wheeler and that heavy truck. Oh, that pisses me off. For that heavy truck to catch up with me, it has to be speeding. And I'm not looking forward to that person being right on my bumper again. This is one of the reasons I really hate bidirectionals. 45 mile per hour turns, we're doing 57. So let's slow down. We're doing 50, 47, 46. There's another canoe. Just one, not a whole bunch of them. Yeah, there must be some kind of river nearby. All right, now I've caught up with somebody. There's a four-wheeler right there. I'm doing 50. Speed limit's dropping down to 45 up ahead. So we're about to drive through some town.
Turn left onto US 412 East.
And this
US 62 West.
is the 412. All right, this is the left turn to bypass the town.
Turn left onto US 412 East, US 62 West.
You can see the town up ahead. Yeah, this is what I thought it was. I remember this.
Continue on US 412 East for 1.5 miles.
Oh, so this is only 1.5 miles. This is nowhere close to 5 to 10 miles of bypassing town. It's only 1.5 miles. Man, look at all the rock that they cut through to create this bypass. This was quite a project to create this. Supposedly only 1.5 miles. It looks like it's further than that. And they built a bridge. Man, this was a really expensive project just to detour traffic around that town right there. But this is a busy road. So they're detouring a lot of traffic. But man, they had to cut through tons and tons of rock. half a mile, we're going to be making a left turn to get back onto the road.
In half a mile, turn left onto US 412 East, US 62 East.
All right, the right lane is right turn only, left lane is left turn only. We're going downhill, doing 44. We're going to be coming to a complete stop to make a left turn. Local trucks only through town.
Turn left onto US 412 East, US 62 East.
All right, there's nobody coming in either direction. Sweet.
Continue for 105 miles.
62 miles to Jonesboro. And it's 105 miles, according to Google, until I get onto Interstate 55 South. So we've got 62 more miles until we get to Jonesboro. And I think it's bi-directional until we get close to Jonesboro. So we might have like 40 more miles, 40 or 50 more miles of bi-directional. Oh, wow, this road is worse than the road we've been driving on. This one has no shoulder. At least the road up to this point had like a tiny little shoulder. This thing barely has enough to put a fog line on the edge. Oh, at least we're not hitting any trees. It's really close. That was really close. I didn't hear anything hit, though. Oh, now we have a shoulder. Yay. Passing lane in 2 miles. That looked like a cop. I couldn't read the side of the car, though. We're going by each other so fast. So this is 62 east, 63 south, and 412 east. Those are the 3 highways and state roads that we're on right now. Oh, that truck has a convoy of cars behind him. It's another truck driver that waved at me. I don't wave at people when I'm driving by. Like, I'm driving by a lot of people. Do these guys seriously wave at every truck that they pass? Ooh, buddy. Going around that turn a little fast. That's one of the really dangerous things about coming through these turns, is there could be somebody coming the other direction that took the turn too fast, and they're over in my lane. And these are a lot of blind corners, a lot of blind turns. Like, I can't see just 100, 200 feet in front of me because the turns are so sharp. And there's no shoulder to go onto. If somebody's coming at me in my lane, I'm just going to hit them. That's it. There's nowhere to go. If I try to avoid them by going off the right side of the road, who knows, like, you could roll the truck. You could be turning a bad situation into a worse situation. But you're not likely going to survive 2 of these trucks having a head-on collision. So maybe it's worth it to risk, going to the ditch or driving off a cliff. There's a 4-wheeler behind me. Hurry up and pass. Don't wait till the last damn second. They're just sitting behind me. They're about 50 feet behind me, just speed matching me. And there's another four-wheeler catching up with us. So my guess is the four-wheeler that's just chilling behind me is probably turning pretty soon. And they don't want to pass me and then, like, stop in front of me for a turn. They're probably being nice. That would be my guess. The other four-wheeler's just about caught up with us, and now we have another four-wheeler back there. And the four-wheeler is going for the pass. Not the one behind me, but the one that just caught up with us just went for the pass. Right when the lane started ending. That's what I was afraid of. That's the reason I was watching all of them, is because people are so incredibly aggressive. The lane started ending, and that four-wheeler went out for the pass anyway. And they managed to get around the car that was behind me, but they weren't able to pass me. So I have a very aggressive driver tailgating me right now, that as soon as they get an opening, they're going to go to pass. They might even pass in this right here where it's illegal to pass. I'm just keeping an eye on them. They are so close behind me that I can't see them right now. All I can see is their shadow. It's a white SUV. The other two vehicles are about a half mile behind me. All right, we got a downgrade according to the sign. Those other two cars are so far behind me, I can't see them anymore. $50-mile-per-hour turn. We're doing 54 right now. 53, we're slowing down for the turn. 50. 49. 48. That car is right on my bumper. Do they think driving a couple inches off my bumper is going to make me go faster? Like, are they trying to intimidate me? Is that what it is? It's just really stupid, really dangerous. Like, are they going to hurt me by rear-ending me? No. They're not going to be able to cause any damage to me. Now, they could damage the vehicle, and they could damage their vehicle and hurt themselves. And I would have to deal with a whole bunch of drama if they hit me. So they're putting themselves in more danger than they're putting me in. Uh-oh, I got to be careful right here. There's an opening for them to pass. This is legal for them to pass. Let's see if they go for it. I'm doing 55 right now, which is the speed limit. They're gone. They disappeared somewhere. No, they're not. I see their shadow. They're so close to me that it's hard for me to see them. All right, a truck has caught up with me. And it's flying up on me. I'm doing 55, which is the speed limit. That truck is just coming at me quick. All right, so now that truck's about 500 feet behind me. And we got a passing lane. So hopefully this car and this truck get around me in this passing lane, and then I don't have to deal with these two idiots anymore. Because they want to go way too fast. I'm going to slow down a little bit through this to make it easier for them to pass me. All right, the car is passing me now. We're going uphill. And it looks like the truck is light because the truck is coming up on me fast. It just went out in the left lane. All right, let me back out of it a little bit because the right lane's already ending. I'm doing 46 right now. I slowed down to let them get around. What an idiot. Why would that truck get back over in the right lane when there's a sign saying that that right lane ends? Doing 51 right now. So now that truck can tailgate that car and those two can go have fun together. Hopefully they don't get into an accident driving like maniacs. But I'm going to have to, that's the reason going around these blind turns like this is so dangerous. Is because you could come around a turn and those two morons could be in a fiery blaze around the turn, blocking the whole road. You just got to lock up your brakes. It's really dangerous going around a sharp turn to slam on your brakes in these trucks. Your momentum is going to try to take you straight. So if you're going around a turn and you slam on your brakes, the truck is going to want to continue going straight instead of going around the turn. So if you slam on your brakes going around a tight turn, you can roll the vehicle. That's the reason you shouldn't drive like maniacs like these people are doing and be taking these turns at high speeds. Like any idiot can drive fast. It takes self-control to drive appropriate speeds. It takes like maturity and having a functional brain. It's like people that brag about being able to go down 6% grades at 70 miles per hour. Like any idiot can do that. The reason you go slow is so that you can stop if you need to. If you're going 70 miles an hour at 80,000 pounds down a 6% grade and you come up on an accident or stop traffic, let's say that there's completely stopped traffic for whatever reason, what's going to happen? Well, you're going to kill a bunch of people. You're not going to be able to stop. And that's the reason that you slow down for these turns is not just because of how sharp they are. It's because of your limited visibility. There can be anything around these turns, so you don't want to, even if you could go around one of these turns at 70 miles an hour, you don't want to do that because you can't see around these turns. You want to be at a speed that if there's something around the turn, you can stop for it. So in this drive shift, I don't even know if I've talked about this yet. The plan, a second here, we're going down a steep grade and we're going through a turn. And if you go off the right side, you fall off a cliff. So, tons of fun. In this drive shift, I'm planning on stopping in West Memphis, Arkansas. Just a second here, somebody's turning in front of me. I'm going to top off fuel in West Memphis, Arkansas, which is right at 200 miles from where I started. And the total driving today, well, there's a bunch of people swimming in the creek right there. The total driving today is like 550 miles. All right, speed limit's dropping down to 45, which usually means we're about to drive through a town. We're going 48, 46, 45. Total driving today is like 550 miles. There's some off-road vehicle over to our left. Driving across the highway. All right, we're going downhill and I've coasted up to 50 miles an hour. I'm letting the engine brakes slow me down to 48. Railroad crossing up ahead. Thank you, truckers. God bless. All right, after the railroad tracks, speed limit goes back up to 55. And I've got a four-wheeler that caught up with me through town. Looks like a couple. There's a couple about a half mile back. This is what happens every time I drive through, some low speed limit area, is a bunch of people catch up with me because they don't slow down. And this is a lot of tree coverage here. This is really pretty. Could you imagine trying to walk across the United States back before we had roads or towns or anything, back when it was just kind of just natural open land? Could you imagine trying to walk through areas of the country that are this dense with brush and trees and stuff like that? I mean, it would be nearly impossible. It would take you all day long to go a mile. Still got a four-wheeler on my butt and another one creeping up toward me. Still like quarter of a mile back. And sorry I'm getting quiet. This is just really windy. If I would have remembered it was like this, I probably would have taken the other route through Nashville. This is just like almost the entire drive on bidirectional has just been windy road going up and downhill. All right, speed limit's dropping back down to 45, going through another town. We're doing 55 right now. Hopefully these four-wheelers behind me are headed to this town. Or they get an opportunity to pass me in town. Let me get a sip of my soda here. Imbiden. I don't know how to pronounce that. Imbiden, population 640. Imboden. Imbiden, Arkansas, population 640. All right, we're doing 42 and the speed limit just dropped to 35. A lot of these stores look brand new, like the Sonic restaurant that was at an AutoZone or an O'Reilly's. Like there was a parts store, a couple restaurants. There was several businesses that we just passed that looked brand new. That's kind of odd. Usually towns out in the middle of nowhere like this, their population is going down and the businesses are shutting down. But what I'm seeing here is that businesses seem to be thriving and they're increasing the number of businesses in this town. So the population is probably going up here. For what reason, I don't know. There has to be something employing all these people nearby. All right, I saw some sign talking about bridge weight limits, and it was like 30 tons for 6 axles. And this is really narrow. There's no shoulder through here. So 30 tons is 60,000 pounds. And 6 axles, I have 5 axles. All right, looks like we have a passing lane coming up, and I have a cluster of like 4 or 5 cars behind me. Looks like 5, unless there's somebody behind me I can't see. Is this the bridge? 2 to 5 axles, 28 tons. So the weight limit on that bridge for this vehicle is 28 tons, which is 56,000 pounds. The right lane is ending already. It looks like one of the pickups at the back is not going to be able to pass me. They're too far back. So you can't take this route if you're over 56,000 pounds. I wonder if people actually obey those bridge weight limits, though. Now, am I over 56,000 pounds? I'm basically running empty. So my weight, if I had to guess, would be here's another one. $26 tons with 2 to 5 axles. So that one's 52,000 pounds. That's really close to my weight. Basically, trucks are prohibited through here. My weight is right at, let's see, 42,000 pounds. 42 to 44,000 pounds would be approximately what my weight is. 42 to 44,000 pounds. But I'm almost empty. I have like 7,000 pounds of cargo. I would suspect that the majority of these trucks are over the weight limits of these bridges. Does that mean that the bridge is going to collapse with them driving over top of it? No. The weight limits are to reduce wear and tear on the bridge. If you drive over those bridges over the weight limit, then you're causing extra damage to the bridge. The bridge is not going to last as long as it's planned. And what they will do on really old bridges to extend their life is they'll start throwing up weight limits on them to reduce the wear and tear on them. Instead of repairing or replacing them, they'll put weight limits on them to increase their life expectancy. And those weight limit signs, you can see that they had put stickers over the old weight limit, so they'd most likely decreased the weight limits on those bridges recently. And I'd be willing to bet that the majority of these trucks driving through here are over the weight limit, because most trucks don't drive around empty. And 56,000 pounds, 52,000 pounds, that's pretty light. Most of these trucks are 70 to 80,000 pounds. Oh man, I just realized I was doing 65. We're going through these rolling hills, like up and down hill. All right, let's see what this bridge says. We got another weight restriction on this bridge. 28 tons, so another 56,000 pounds. All right, are they going for it? They almost went for it. Now they're waiting until the last damn second, and then they're going for it. Oh my goodness, that's dangerous. That ticks me off when people do that. They just sit there and sit there and sit there and wait till the last second, and they're like, all right, I'm going for it. All right, I have a pickup right on my butt. Is it going to go for the pass? Or is it just going to set back there? I'm doing 52 miles an hour. It looks like it's just sitting on my butt. It's not making any attempt to pass if it's really close behind me. Now it's starting to like lean out into the left lane for a pass, just as the right lane's ending. but now it just backed way off. It's slowing way down. I think it might be exiting here for the rest area. Nope, it did not exit the rest area, but it slowed way down. It's like 500 feet behind me now. Got 30 miles until I get to Interstate 555. And I think the road goes to 4 lanes, not divided, but just 4 lanes for like the last 10 miles or so before you get to the interstate, before this road turns into an interstate. All right, speed limit's dropping down to 40. We're doing 55. Oh, wait, no, that's for the side road that we're passing right here. The speed limit is, like, that's a really weird sign. We're still at a 55 mile per hour speed limit on this road. I hate it whenever they put up signs for service roads or side roads that it's hard to tell if the sign is, like, there's lots of signs on the interstate that are for the service road, but they put them on the left side of the service road so it looks like the sign is for the interstate. I hate it when they do stuff like that. All right, speed limit's dropping down to 45. We're doing 59 right now. And that little box truck was smoking really bad. It's like we're driving through fog. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but I can still see like the smoke that we're driving through right now. All right, 45 mile per hour speed limit. All right, I got a 4-wheeler, 2 4-wheelers behind me. One is so close that I can only see their shadow. And that's the pickup that refused to pass me during the passing lane. And then there's another vehicle, a 4-wheeler, right behind them. And then there's a truck about a quarter mile back. All those people did not slow down through that town, and they caught up with me. Oh, there's a pedestrian just walking across the road. Just casually walking across the highway. Like, oh my God. Like, I had to slow down for him. He's just like pimp walking slowly across the highway. All right, we have multiple lanes. Get around me. All right, speed limit's dropping down to 45. All right, there goes the pickup that did not pass me in the last passing lane. Have we hit the section of road where it's 4 lanes until we get to the interstate? I think this is it. I think it's going to be like this until we get to the interstate. All right, the truck behind me disappeared. It must have pulled off somewhere in that town. So those are the 2 cars that were behind me. They just passed me. All right, at the end of the bridge, the speed limit goes up to 60. So we're speeding up. The truck that was behind me is gone. I think that's the end of it. I think it's like this until we hit the interstate, And then we're going to become a divided road. And then I don't think I have any more highway, like bi-directional driving for the rest of this trip. I think that was it. Ooh, I'm speeding. I'm doing 64. Speed limit's 60. And it looks like there's a sign up ahead where the speed limit's dropping again. 45. Speed limit's dropping down to 45 again. We're doing 55 right now. 53, 51, 50. Right there's the speed limit sign. We're doing 47, 46. Speed limit's now 45. Porsche, population 424. And here comes a four-wheeler flying up on me that didn't slow down for the speed limit. That's what people typically do when the speed limit drops like that. They don't slow down for it. That's the reason every time I hit one of these towns and the speed limit drops by like 10, 20 miles an hour, I have people fly up on me because they don't slow down. All right, speed limit's going up to 60. Once we get past this Exxon gas station. We're at 48 right now, accelerating. We're out of the rolling hills. It's flat land now. That's probably why it's bi-directional throughout that entire section, is because it would be so expensive for them to put in like a 4-lane road throughout all that area that we just drove through. That would be really expensive for them to widen out the road with all those rolling hills and how windy it is. All right, I thought that pickup in front of me was pulling off onto the shoulder, but no, it just drifted off onto the shoulder, and then it pulled back onto the road. It is a beautiful day. My temperature gauge says 88, but some moron designed it. They put the temperature gauge in the mirror, the driver's side mirror, and whenever there's direct sunlight on the driver's side mirror, it gets hot. So the temperature gauge is highly inaccurate because Jonesboro, 27 miles, because the place where they put, all right, that pickup just drifted off onto the shoulder again. The place where they put the gauge affects the temperature because it gets so hot. So typically, when I'm driving down the road, when there's a lot of airflow over the mirror and there's direct sunlight on it, it typically reads about 10 degrees hot. When there's hardly any airflow over the mirror and there's direct sunlight on it, it can get like 30, 40 degrees off. Like it can be 80 degrees outside and it can read 110, 120, 130 degrees on my temperature gauge. So since it's reading 88 right now, I would guess that it's somewhere between like 78 and 84 degrees outside right now. That would be my guess. Really nice, beautiful summer day. I think I might end the driving video once we get to the interstate. I thought it would be a cool driving video, you know, going through all that bi-directional, because the last driving video I did, well, the last two driving videos I did haven't been very good. The one I did leaving Ellensburg, Washington, was driving on a bi-directional road, but it was at night, so you couldn't see anything. And then the one that I did during the daytime, my last driving video, was across Nebraska on the interstate. Is just basically flat land, straight driving. It's not very interesting. So I thought this one would be much better than the other ones. Much more interesting. And I'm mainly doing nighttime driving, so I have to do these driving videos right at the beginning of my drive shift. Because once it gets dark, there's not a whole lot to see. I took like somewhere around a 13-hour break. You know, if you are not... Sorry, that pickup just drove off onto the shoulder again. I was really concerned that they were playing on their phone and going to drift off onto the shoulder, and they might go straight through this turn and go off the side of the road. All right, we got something in the road, and this piece of a tire. But yeah, this I took I think it was around a 13-hour break. If you don't follow trucking, if you're not familiar with trucking, we're required to take 10-hour rest breaks to reset our hours. So for us to be able to start a new workday with all of our hours available, we have to do a 10-hour rest period. So that is the normal, like those are the absolute minimums that we have to do. And that's basically whenever you set a minimum, that becomes what people do. That becomes the expectation. Like we have speed limits on the roads. The expectation is that you're going to drive the speed limit, even though that's the limit. That's the highest you can go. The expectation is that's how fast you're going to go. If we didn't have speed limits on the roads, there would be people driving down the road at like 45. And because they put limits on our hours and our break periods in trucking, now the expectation is that you work within those limits. That's the reason truck drivers work like 70-hour work weeks, because that's the most we can work in a week is 70 hours. That's the expectation. That's, even though those are the maximums that you're allowed to work in a week, that's the expectation, is that you're going to work whatever the limit is every week. And if you don't, then you'll get fired. That's one of the reasons I became an owner-operator. I didn't want to be a company driver working 70 hours a week. There's no way that I would do this job working like a normal over the road, or even a local truck driver. Locals work 60, 70 hours a week a lot of the times as well. And every time I talk about that in a video, or I mention it on a thread on Reddit or something, I'm always going to have some asshole that chimes in. It's like, I only work 32 hours a week and I make $180,000 a year. Oh, well, good for you. I'm not talking about the exceptions. I'm talking about what's normal. Damn, that pickup just drifted off the road again. I don't know if they're inebriated. Maybe they started the 4th of July a little early. Or we got a light up ahead. or if they're like distracted driving. Can't see the signal yet, but that truck just went through it. All right, just turned yellow. Great, great, great. That truck just ran the red. I would have done the same thing. That was a really fast light. It went from yellow to red way too quick for a 60-mile-per-hour road. This sucks. I don't like being stopped on a 60-mile-per-hour roadway like this. People come flying. There's a truck. They're out in the left lane. They just came flying up on me. Looks like Atlas. Some kind of bed bugger. That's what it looks like from the trailer design. But they're out in the left lane, acting like a super trucker. Just blocking the road. I got a four-wheeler behind me, and I am out accelerating whatever that truck is. Man, that scared me. That truck came flying up on that light really fast. And they just slammed on their brakes right at the last second. That is why I don't like being stopped at a stoplight on high speed limit roads like this. It's incredibly dangerous. Oh yeah, that thing is accelerating really slow. It's like a quarter mile behind me, and they're still out in the left lane. What an asshole. What in the hell are they growing out here? Lots and lots of fields of something. All right, that truck has finally gotten up to speed and it started catching up with me. Slowly catching up with me. Still about 500 feet back there. And it's still in the left lane. Now I can tell, well, I can almost tell what that is. No, I can't tell what that is. I was about to say it looks like corn stalks, but I don't actually see any corn on it. So as far as I know, it could be cane or something. But it does, if I had to guess, I would say it's corn. But it could be wheat or anything. I'm not familiar with plants. Man, I would hate to live right off of a really busy highway like that, just like 100 feet off the road. And I suspect that these people own large amounts of land. I don't know, who knows? Maybe they just own that small. Maybe the person who owns all the farmland sold off all of the land around the edge in small parcels. If I owned like 500 acres of land, my house wouldn't be anywhere near the road. I would have a really long driveway. All right, looks like speed limit's dropping. That truck has managed to make it up to about 200 feet behind me. It's still out in the left lane, but the speed limit's dropping up ahead. So when the speed limit drops, I suspect that they are not going to slow down. I will, and they're going to fly by me. So the speed limit's dropping down to 55. So I'm starting to slow down. We're at 58. Sedgwick, population 163, 56, and here they go. They didn't slow down. All right, we're at 55. Yeah, it's a bed bugger. North American. Oh, okay, like right when they get an inch in front of me, then they slowed down, and then they like swerved over to my lane. Now the speed limit's going back up to 60. This person is swerving all over the road. So now that they're in front of me, now they want to drive, like they're just wanting a Sunday stroll. They're wanting to go exactly the speed limit. I've been going 64 this whole time, or the speed limit's 60, and this person's been catching up with me. So they've been going like 65, 66. But now that they're in front of me, they're doing 60. And I'm doing 63 right now. Once they realize that I'm going faster than them, I don't think they're checking their mirrors. They're probably going to speed up. All right, now they've sped up. Now they're speed matching me. I'm doing 61 and I'm going faster than them. I don't like driving like this. This person is a moron. This is dangerous. I'm getting around this person. He's playing on his phone. So I sped up to 65, so I'm not driving alongside this idiot. And now we're slowing back down. I'm doing 63. He was sitting there just looking straight down at his phone, typing on it, while he was driving alongside me. That pisses me off so much. That is so incredibly dangerous. He is swerving all over the road, playing on his phone, driving alongside me. He's still playing on his phone. He just drifted off into the center lane. I'm doing 62, and still going faster than them, still pulling away from him. He's back there swerving all over the road, playing on his phone. Seven miles, 6.7 miles until we get onto the interstate. I haven't used the cruise basically this whole drive. I'm still just pedaling it. Once we get onto the interstate, I'll be able to turn the cruise onto 65. Speed limit will go up to like 70. Doing 63 right now, and North American is like a quarter of a mile behind me. He's back there doing like probably 58 or something. What is wrong with people? Like, this person was speeding, was going like 65, 66 miles an hour to pass me. All right, we got a cop way up there. And then, whenever they finally make it around me, they slow down to like 2 miles an hour under the speed limit. Like, what the hell is wrong with people? He's driving down the center of the road right now, playing on his phone. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get over in the left lane. North American is way behind me. They're somewhere between a quarter and a half mile behind me now. Hopefully driving past this cop gets him to stop playing on his phone. I'm doing 62. I'm doing 2 miles an hour over the speed limit. All right, we're getting close to wrapping up the video. We're 3.8 miles away from the interstate. So is there anything I want to say before we wrap up the video? I guess we can talk about the loads. I have gotten hardly any load alerts. The only 2 load alerts that I've gotten are 2. All right, there's a light up ahead. It just turned yellow. North American finally got over in the right lane. Right before we get up to a light where I have to come to a stop. Now I have to worry about this idiot playing on his phone rear-ending me again. All right, it just turned green. I'm at 55 right now. Hopefully the light turns red for North American. 50 mile per hour turn. I'm doing 57, 54, 51. All right, speed limit's back up to 60. Or did the speed limit even drop? I don't remember. I slowed down for the stoplight and the turn. And North American did not get a red light. They didn't slow down for the light or the turn. Now they're catching up with me. So yeah, the only 2 load alerts I've gotten were max weight hazmat loads that were horrible loads. One of them was a deadhead up to South Carolina, and then it was delivering to, I can't remember the name, like Piedmont, Arkansas or something. It was somewhere out in the middle of nowhere in southwest Arkansas. So those are the only 2 loads. And I've had agents call me 3 times. I had to put my phone on Do Not Disturb because I was getting phone calls while I was sleeping. I got 3 phone calls today while I was sleeping. Agents trying to get me to take crap loads. There's somebody selling something along the shoulder right there. He was holding something up. I don't know what in the hell he was holding up. It was too small and there was too much crap on whatever it was he was holding up to be able to read it.
In half a mile, continue onto I-555.
45 mile per hour turn. We're doing 60, so let's slow down. Got a 4-wheeler along my right side. And now we're on Interstate 555.
Continue on I-555 for 49 miles.
We got 49 miles until I get to Interstate 55. Just a second here. Get up to speed, 4-wheeler. Speed limit is now 65, and I've just set the cruise at 65. So let's wrap up the video. We're done with the highway and state road driving. Now we're on the interstate, and it's all interstate driving from here. I'll be doing a little pit stop in West Memphis, Arkansas to top off fuel. And by the time I end this drive shift, I should be close to Atlanta. The place where I plan on stopping is about, I want to say it's like 40 miles, maybe 50 miles west of Atlanta on I think it's 20. Trying to remember if it's 20 or 22. I'm pretty sure it's 20. There's a Pilot Flying J, and that's where I plan on hanging out at until my delivery appointment Thursday morning. My delivery is Thursday morning. I can't remember the time. I want to say it's like 7 a.m. Just a second here. The 4-wheeler in front of me just hit their brakes. Are they taking the exit? Yes. No signal, just brakes. And North American is stuck behind the 4-wheeler behind me. North American tried to pass that 4-wheeler that I passed, and they couldn't. So now they're just tailgating that 4-wheeler. So apparently North American is governed at like 64, 65, somewhere in that area. But yeah, I should be arriving to the Pilot Flying J. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Let me think. What's the total mileage left? I don't want to risk messing up my GPS by checking the total mileage. Because if I accidentally delete my GPS stops, then I'll have to pull over and put all that stuff back in. So it was about 9 hours of driving, somewhere around 9 to 10 hours of driving today. It wasn't a full drive shift. And I've been driving for 2 hours and 19 minutes. So about 7 hours from now, and it's 8 p.m. Central Time. So that would be 3 a.m. Just a second here, I'm just got a blind hill. 8 p.m. plus 7 hours, that's 3 a.m., right? And then we're going into Eastern Time Zone, so that's going to make it 4 a.m. So somewhere in the ballpark of like 3 to 4 a.m. is when I expect to arrive at that Pilot Flying J. And then I'm going to get there a day early. So I'm going to sit there all day Wednesday. And then early Thursday morning, I'll leave probably like 2 hours before my delivery appointment. I think it's about an hour drive. I'll get there at my delivery appointment an hour early. Make my delivery. And then if I still haven't booked a load, then I'll drive back to, most likely I'll go back to the same Pilot Flying J. I'll drive like an hour back to that same Pilot Flying J. There are truck stops closer, but I don't know. I might see about stopping at there are Pilot Flying J's closer to Atlanta. I might see about stopping at one of them and setting, through the weekend at one of them. But I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. Truck stops in major metropolitan areas are going to get crazy through the holiday weekend, because everything is going to shut down. All the warehouses and distribution centers and everything, a lot of them are going to shut down through the holiday weekend. So there's going to be a ton of trucks parked. And where are they going to park? Are they going to park out in the middle of Wyoming? No. They're going to park at their origin and their destination. They're not going to park in between. Wyoming is like an in-between spot. You drive across Wyoming when you're headed to Portland or you're headed to Atlanta. There are hardly any loads going in and out of Wyoming. So Wyoming is not a big origin or a destination. Of course, there are loads going in and out of Wyoming, but the vast majority of trucks are taking loads to or from major metropolitan areas like Portland, Seattle, LA, Atlanta, Dallas, Chicago, places like that. So those are the places that are going to be overrun with trucks through the holiday weekend. So I think I would prefer to be an hour outside of Atlanta rather than like right in Atlanta. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are desperate to find parking spots, and you're going to have a lot of creative parking at the truck stops in major metropolitan areas. So I think it's going to be a lot less drama to be at a truck stop an hour outside of Atlanta than to be like in a truck stop right on the edge of Atlanta or in Atlanta. But we'll see. We will see. I'll figure it out tomorrow and Thursday. And who knows, maybe I'll find a load and I won't have to, solve that problem. Maybe I'll find a load and I'll just go to wherever the load's picking up, grab the load, and I can drive through the holiday weekend. The only thing that sucks, sorry, I'm looking at a cop on a side road. Two cops have a white pickup pulled over on the side road, and whoever they've got pulled over is sitting on their tailgate of their pickup. But yeah, hopefully I can, that would be best case scenario, is that I just book a load and I can just go and pick the load up Thursday and then drive the load through the holiday. The only thing that sucks about having a load through the holiday is it's most likely not going to deliver until Monday. Everything's going to be closed Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But I could deliver the load on Monday and then head to the house, because I'm specifically looking for a load that's headed to the house. That's the reason I've gotten so few load alerts, is I'm looking for loads. I can't remember the exact parameters I have set up on my load alert. But I think it's looking for loads within 250 miles of Atlanta that are delivering within 250 miles of Oklahoma City. Well, apparently North American is not governed at 65. I thought they were, based on the way they're driving, but their driving is extremely erratic. Because I have my cruise set at the high end of 65, and North American's catching up with me. They'll be passing me in a minute. I cannot wait for them to get away from me. I hope that they go 75 miles an hour and they just get away from me. They're coming up on me pretty quick. I'm guessing that they're going 70. They're going about 5 miles an hour faster than me, which is good. Hopefully they continue going 70 or faster and they get away from me. I don't want this idiot anywhere near me. He's going by me right now. He's not playing on his phone anymore. Yeah, just come over real close in front of me. This guy is a moron. But hopefully he continues doing 70, and within a few minutes he should be out of my sight. I won't have to deal with him again. The speed limit according to Google is 75, but I think Arkansas has a truck speed limit of 70. Yeah, there's a sign, speed limit 75, truck 70. And I have my cruise set at 65, because that's as fast as I like to go. But yeah, through the holiday weekend, if I'm parked at the truck stop through the holiday weekend, then I'm probably going to try to fix the wiring issue on my headlight. I talked about it in the last driving video, but the turn signal on my right headlight works, but the turn signal also acts as like a running light. So the turn signal stays on solid whenever you have your lights on. And then whenever you turn your turn signal on or your four ways, it flashes. Well, it flashes, but it doesn't stay on solid. There is a bundle of wires that goes to the light assembly, and one of those wires is basically cut. And that's the wire that has it stay on most, I'm guessing, because that's what's happening. I found basically an exposed wire going to the headlight assembly, and I'm pretty sure that is what's causing the problem. So I just need to cut out the bad part of the wire and, repair that little section of wiring. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Should be fairly easy, but it's probably going to take me 30 minutes to an hour to fix it. A mechanic could probably do it in 5 minutes, but I'm not as fast as a mechanic, and it takes me a long time to find the appropriate tool. Mechanics have tons more tools than me, and they're much more readily available than mine are. Me, I might have to go digging through all of my storage and, trying to track down like a razor blade to cut the wire, or, my wire snips, or, a wire to replace that section. It's probably going to take me a long time to track down all the stuff that I need. But it looks like it's going to be an easy repair, and it should only take me maybe 30 minutes to an hour to do it. But I don't want to do it while I'm under a load, because if it takes longer than expected, or if I screw something up and my entire headlight assembly stops working, then I could have a couple of days of downtime. All of the dealerships are probably going to be closed through the holiday weekend. So if I have to go to the dealership to get something, then I could be sitting for like 4 days. So I don't want to try to repair it while I'm under this load. So if I'm stuck at the truck stop through the holiday weekend, then I'll most likely fix it at the truck stop. But if I'm able to book a load, I'm probably not going to bother with fixing it until I get home. I'll deliver that load, and then I'll drive home, and then I'll fix it once I get home. I am concerned driving across Arkansas with a light out, though. Arkansas and Oklahoma are two states that are really anal at way stations. They pull in a lot of trucks. They inspect a lot of trucks. I'm really concerned about going across an Arkansas and an Oklahoma way station. And unlike most states where the way stations are closed at night, Arkansas and Oklahoma don't usually shut down their way stations at night or on the weekend. 29 miles until I get onto I-55 South. Traffic is amazing right now. Once I get onto 55, probably going to be a lot of traffic. And oh my goodness, last night, okay, I am definitely, here in the future, I am definitely stocking up on hot dogs whenever I head out over the road. So, what I use to heat up my food is I have this little warming plate that only uses like 150 to 100 watts of electricity. It uses almost no electricity, but it takes a long time to heat stuff up, and it can only get up to like 170 degrees, which 170 degrees is hot enough to cook something. But it takes a long time for it to heat something up. So what I carry a roll of aluminum foil in the truck, and what I'll do if I'm heating up, let's say, hot dogs, is or burritos, I'll put them in aluminum foil. I'll wrap them up in aluminum foil and then set them in this little lunchbox thing that has a warming plate in the bottom of it and plug it in. So that's the way that I heated up the hot dogs whenever I ended my drive shift, is I put some hot dogs in some aluminum foil and then set them in the warming tray. And then I took the hot dog buns and I put them on top of that. And oh my goodness, that was amazing. I left them in there for maybe about 30 minutes, and the hot dogs got really hot. And the buns, like, got a crisp outer edge from the heat, and the buns got hot. It was like buns fresh out of the oven or something like that. The hot dog buns were amazing. And I had some chopped up onions, so hot dogs, chopped up onion. I have, cheese slices, so I put some cheese on it and some mustard. And that's what I had for dinner last night, was a couple of hot dogs, or this morning. I'm on a night shift, so it's daytime for me, even though the sun's going down right now. This is the beginning of my day. But yeah, that turned out absolutely amazing. Oh my goodness, that was so good. Those hot dogs were awesome. And I bought a ton of hot dogs. I bought 2 20-packs of hot dogs. I have 40 hot dogs, and I bought 4 packs of buns. So I have 32 buns. So I have enough hot dog buns and hot dogs to make 32 hot dogs. And then I'll have 8 hot dogs left over that I can just eat without a bun. Maybe I'll chop them up and put them into my beans or something like that. But yeah, oh my goodness, they turned out amazing. I've thought about like bringing sandwiches, sandwich materials to eat on the truck, but bread just doesn't last very long. Bread is only good for like 1 to 2 weeks. So yeah, I could do sandwiches or hot dogs for the first 1 to 2 weeks, but it doesn't last very long. What I could potentially try is freezing hot dog buns or sandwich bread. Second, there's an ambulance passing me. Doesn't have its lights on, but it's hauling butt. So yeah, I might look into freezing the hot dog buns. And next time I come out over the road, that'll be one of the things I bring along is hot dogs. Definitely going to do that. Just got to figure out how I'm going to do it. The sun is going down. Starting to get dark. And I don't think I have very long after I get to Interstate 55 before I get to West Memphis, Arkansas. I think from the junction of I-55, I think it's probably, if I had to guess, it's got to be like 20 or 30 miles to West Memphis from the junction, because it was only a total of like 190 miles from where I was at to the truck stop in West Memphis. So that's a little over 3 hours. And by the time I get to I-55 in 21 miles, that's going to be right at 3 hours. So yeah, I'm once I intersect with I-55, I should be really close to West Memphis, Arkansas. It's probably like 10 miles away. Because we're getting really close to 3 hours, which means this video is close to 3 hours. 2 hours and 43 minutes. Oh my goodness. We've got to wrap this video up. I said that I was going to end it when I got onto I-55 or I-555, and I didn't. There's some farmers out here putting in a long day. There's a tractor over on the right. What are they doing? Is that dust or is that spray? That's dust. Looks like they're, I don't know what was doing. I'm not familiar with farming. I don't know what it was doing, but it wasn't one of those disc things that churns up the ground. It had wheels and some kind of sorry, there's two cars coming around me. Some kind of like, I don't know, shovel wedge type thing to churn up the ground. It looked like they were going in between the rows and like churning up the ground in between the plants. I can still smell the dirt from the little dust cloud we drove through. But that's what's going on with me. Going to be putting in fuel in West Memphis, Arkansas at the Pilot Flying J. We'll top off fuel again. I'm just a little over 5/8 of a tank. I'm in between 5 and 6/8 of a tank. So I should be able to throw in probably somewhere in the area of like 75 gallons of fuel. And and my cost is $2.49 a gallon. In Nebraska City, Iowa, the last place I topped off, my cost was $2.52 a gallon. Caution, farm equipment next 4 miles. And then in West Memphis, Arkansas, it's $2.49 a gallon. Now there is a TA Petro right next to the Pilot Flying J that's $2.42 a gallon, 7 cents a gallon cheaper. But I'm going to go ahead and top off fuel at the Pilot Flying J because of, of their reward program. It's so much better, and that's where I've been fueling the whole route. And that's, in my opinion, why they do the reward programs, is so that whenever you come up and have to make a decision between two places where the prices are really close, you're going to go with whoever you have the reward program with. Now, if TA Petro was consistently 7 cents a gallon cheaper than Pilot Flying J, then I would be using TA Petro, even though their reward program is absolutely abysmal. Like the TA Petro might as well not have a reward program. It's so bad. It is ridiculously bad. I think the only reason TA Petro gets any business at all is because if you have, they have some of the best fuel discounts. It's not easy to get good discounts at Pilot Flying J or Love's. Love's is especially stingy with their discounts. But TA Petro is probably the easiest one to get good discounts at. And it's because their prices are the most inflated and their reward program sucks the most. So they can give big discounts and still be profitable. I wish that they would change their reward program to match Pilot Flying J and Love's, because Pilot Flying J and Love's basically have identical reward programs. If TA Petro had the exact same reward program as Pilot Flying J and Love's, then I would use TA Petro. I prefer TA Petro over the other ones for several reasons. One of the big reasons is their shops. TA Petro has the best shops. It's really hit or miss on whether Love's has a shop. A lot of Love's do not have shops. The Love's that do have shops are usually limited hours, and they're limited on what they'll do. Like Love's has a lot of shops that don't have like full mechanics. They just have like tire mechanics, and they can only do basic stuff. You don't run into that stuff at TA Petro very often. And then Pilot Flying J doesn't have shops. It's just some of their locations have Bosch shops on them or Goodyear shops on them. But Pilot Flying J doesn't have their own shops. A second here, this fan that just passed me is doing a lot of brakes. So are they taking the exit? Yeah, they're taking the exit. No signal, no nothing, just slam on your brakes, take the exit. I'm going to keep talking. Unless I could just keep talking forever. I'm turning down the brightness on my ELD now that the sun's going down. Otherwise, it's like a flashlight shining in my face. This is, I just want to enjoy the last few minutes I have on this interstate. I've only got 12 miles to go until I get onto not 555, until I get off of 555 on 255. And once I get onto 55, I think traffic's going to pick up a lot. So this is really awesome right now. Just got to enjoy the last few miles of this. So anyway, I hope you're having a great week. I hope you have a great weekend. Whether you're sitting at home or you're out making the big bucks, whatever you're doing this holiday weekend, I hope it's awesome. I hope you make a lot of money or enjoy your time off. And if you're going out setting off explosives, I hope you don't blow your hand off. Don't set any fires. Safety first. So have a great week. Have a great holiday. This maybe be my last video before the holiday weekend, or I might not make another video until after the holiday. Who knows? Maybe I'll make a video of me doing the wiring repair at the truck stop, if I end up doing it at the truck stop. It's really difficult for me to do those types of videos, though, because I don't have any mounting equipment for the phone to set up a tripod while I'm doing it. So I have to hold the phone in one hand while I'm doing something with the other hand. I tried to record the repair I did on the airline, and it's just really difficult to work while I'm recording because I don't have any kind of a mounting equipment. So maybe I'll work on getting some kind of mounting equipment for the phone to be able to record that kind of stuff. But anyway, I'm just going to keep rambling if I don't end the video. So let's end the video. Have a good week. Have a good weekend. Bye.